Okay, folks, Big G, back at it again. It's with heavy heart and regret that I'm here today. Not as unusual, me being excited to do a story. This one is just not one to have any excitement doing, but I need to do it because it needs to get out. And we're going to need your help with this one, folks. Today I come to you and we gather today to talk about a man named Matthew Stoddard. This fella. Matthew had the unluckiness of coming to a point in his life where he had experience with a mental crisis issue. And he also had the unluckiness of having it in Sullivan County, Tennessee. And inevitably, it cost him his life. So let's get into this story. Okay, when Matthew started experiencing this episode, he had, from what the family has told me, never experienced any kind of issues in the past, so this was something new. He gathered his family in the car, his wife and 3 kids and the dog, and part of his issue was he, as most people who experience these type of episodes, was paranoid. So he thought his family and his children were at harm and somebody was following them or spying on them or whatever have you. So he told them to leave their phones at home. They jumped in the car and was headed to, if what I'm not mistaken, some family in Ohio. And unluckily, they got off the highway in Sullivan County. When they get off the highway, they try to find somewhere to stop to let the children go to the bathroom. So they stop at a house. No one's home. Mind you, this man is highly paranoid. He thinks somebody's after him and his family. He doesn't trust the road signs on the road, supposedly. He's having issues, as you will see in some of the video that I've gotten so far, which I had to get from another news agency, as I asked the sheriff over a month ago for this information, and I was told this. So he didn't want to give it to me and he couldn't respond or make comments about it, but yet I see several news stories start coming out. So it's time for me to go ahead and go forward with my story, the real story. So they decide to go inside the home because clearly the man's not thinking right. They go inside, they sit down on the couch, the children go to the bathroom, and as this is happening, the homeowner comes home. There's no scuffle, there's no argument. The wife tells the man her husband's having an issue, that she needs some medical help, so they call 911. Unlucky for them, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department reached there and got there, and the EMS didn't show. They just sent the Sheriff's Department. So they proceed to cuff this man, put him in a car, and take him away, with the wife not knowing where she's at, by herself now with her children and the dog, and no cell phones. And from what you can see and hear in the videos that I'm going to show you, and hopefully that I get the rest of later, now that the sheriff said that I can get the information, like in this email, I'm putting in for it, I already have. And we'll see if we can get the whole video and what they say through all of it. But from what I've heard, they weren't none too caring for this man. They showed him the utmost disrespect that they could for somebody who was in medical need.
You've got to do it.
I'm gonna freeze you out.
Go ahead, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. Please. None of this matters. I don't have to go to jail. I don't have to go anywhere. I just have to be here. I don't care.
They showed him the utmost disrespect that they could for somebody who was in medical need. So after they proceed to take this man to the sheriff's department, you'll see this happen. I didn't know at the time, like I do now when I first did part of this video, but not only was Matthew handcuffed, but since I guess he decided to bang his head and be a little out of sorts because somebody was freezing him out, is what he said. He decided to bang his head on the vehicle. So they stopped and shackled him. So not only was he handcuffed, he was shackled. Yet they still feel they needed to strap this man to a chair and say that he could fight enough while being handcuffed and shackled that they needed to pummel him so much he had to go to the hospital. Pathetic excuse for men.
Take me back. I wasn't worthy. Now I am. I need to pay for my sins. They're just going to put me full of drugs and I'll be crazier. I can't see them if I'm crazy. Let me see my kids, please. You promised me they're safe. I know you're a good man. Help me. I'm ready to go. I'm tired. I'm weak. I can't make it by myself. I need my family. Let me go! I'll let you go. You're under arrest.
So much so that the jail will not accept him and they have to take him to the hospital from that point. This man had not fought them beforehand, before the last that his wife saw. This man did not have a mark on him. And all he wanted was to make sure that his wife and children were safe, as you will hear. So let's take a look at these clips.
That's fine. Take me. Take me away. Take me away. I just want to rest. Save me, please. Please.
We are. You're going to jail. That way your family is safe and not
Yeah,
going to have you.
You promise me? Look at me.
Yeah.
Are they
But now
safe?
they don't have a dad anywhere, so that's fantastic. Okay.
Look me in the eyes! Tell me they're safe! That's all I care about! You've got to do it.
I'm going to freeze you out.
Go ahead, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. Please. None of this matters. I don't have to go to jail. I don't have to go anywhere. I just have to be here. I don't care.
I just want to say one thing here. The reason these are clipped together like this and they're not every bit of what there is this is because I got this from local media. This didn't come from the sheriff's department. I have since put in for all of it completely because, as you all saw in those emails, the sheriff said put in for him. He has nothing to hide. So we're going to get all the video and see what the mainstream media clipped out of it.
Me back. I wasn't worthy. Now I am. I need to pay for my sins. They're just gonna put me full of drugs and I'll be crazier. I can't see them if I'm crazy. Let me see my kids, please. You promised me they're safe. I know you're a good man. Help me. I'm ready to go. I'm tired. I'm weak. I can't make it by myself. I need my family. Let me go. I'll let you go. You're under arrest.
So now that they have taken him to the hospital, he is admitted to the hospital. A doctor sees him and tells everyone that he is having a mental episode, that he wants to keep him for observation overnight, and they will release him to them to take back to jail, because at this point they're going to arrest him on trespassing charges and resisting arrest and all the usual BS that they put on someone after they usually pummel the hell out of him. So while he's at the hospital, instead of keeping him in the ER like the doctor had asked them to, they decide to put him up on one of the surgical floors on the 4th floor of the Bristol Regional Medical Center. While he's there being guarded by some of Sullivan County's finest and some of Bristol Hospital's finest, he somehow proceeds to try and supposedly withdraw the pistol from one of the officers' holsters, and it discharged. Here's the funny thing. They are saying that the weapon never left the holster. And if anyone has anything to know about firearms, you know that a level 3 holster is impossible to discharge it unless it's just the pistol malfunctioning itself to discharge one without withdrawing it from the holster. So that part of the story, folks, doesn't make sense. So now, as this happens, not only do they start to pummel him again, mind you, this man is handcuffed still. He has never been free since he left the house when they first arrested him. They proceed to pepper spray and mace the bejesus out of him. So much so that everyone has to evacuate the entire room. They leave him there for over 20 minutes. In that time, he cannot breathe and causes himself to have a cardiac arrest. The pepper spray was so bad, from what I've been told by family, that when the medical staff finally realized what was going on with him and he was in cardiac arrest, that they had to drag him out by his ankle into the hall in the floor to try to resuscitate him. He then went into a coma from which he never recovered. The man was 41 years old. and his life was taken by the Sullivan County Police Department. And I'm sorry, but they are liable for his death. There's no reason in the world that somebody who is in custody, who is having a medical issue, whether it be drug-induced or just from a physical, mental issue, they should not die in the custody of the police in this day and age, as they like to say. Part of the major stink of this story is the fact that some of the things that the deputies did that night were unjustified by any means. According to the family and the medical records that they received from the hospital, the sheriff's officers, deputies, lied to them about how he was arrested. They said that he was on drugs and that it was a drug-induced episode instead of it being just a mental episode. They tested him and there was no trace of any kind of drug in his system. Yet they lied to these people, full well knowing that the medical staff there, when they looked at him to be what they called a vagrant, didn't even tell them that his wife and family was with him. They said he was squatting in an abandoned house when they arrested him, and he was on meth, which was a lie. All of it. Why lie? And suspiciously, there's a lot of things that the hospital did during this, which we'll go on to more detail later in another video, because I'm afraid this is going to be a multi-video story. Anyway, so our local DA, as he always does, hands it off to the TBI to investigate, which he probably should do. But the thing is, the TBI says that there was no wrongdoing enough to where they're not even really going to make it an official investigation. You guys saw the video. You tell me how you feel about this. Do you think this man deserved to die because he was having what most people call a mental breakdown, a mental episode? And instead of going with the EMS to the hospital, which he should have originally, or even by the sheriffs, the EMS weren't even called. But instead, he's arrested, taken to jail, had the shit beat out of him, tortured on the way there by, you all heard it, I'm going to freeze you, is what he said. And then if you noticed, down in the corner of the video, that he went well over 80 miles an hour to try and make that man as cold as he could on his way to jail. And then because he's paranoid and what someone might say delusional at that point, they proceed to beat the shit out of him, trying to strap him down in a chair. You all saw the strikes. There's no question about it. They beat the crap out of this man. And then when that wasn't good enough, they took him to the hospital and put him in a coma. I talked to the sheriff, or tried to, about this before the news started picking it up again in this area, as when the TBI was supposed to be investigating it, and they didn't. The sheriff denied me the records, said they couldn't talk about it. Yet the next week, the very next week, a news story breaks out in our local media once again. I thought you wanted to be transparent, Sheriff. I would love to sit down and have an interview and talk to you about this story and let us go over the video and you explain your deputies to the public if you want to be transparent. Let's be fully transparent. Let's go over the video for the people. If you have nothing to hide, let's see it. Put your money where your mouth is. So folks, I'm going to need your help on this one. Down below in the pinned comment and in the description, I will give you links to some hotlines and some places that you can, in case you ever need or feel anybody that does need any mental health help, you will have those links. Also, I'm going to give you the links to the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department and the TBI, and I want you all to redress your grievances. Please show them that this is not acceptable. Also below in the description will be contact information for the Stoddard family and their GoFundMe. So please, please, if you have any money that you can help spare and give these family to help them out in their time of need, it would be greatly appreciated. So until next time, I'm doing my best to keep them straight.